from Guitars and Cigars in Katana Tone Lab. So this is the BOSS Katana 212 Gen 3 modeling amp. It's not the artist or the professional series. So all your controls are on the top of the amp, as you can see here. So on the Pro version or the head, all of these controls are on the front of the unit itself. And one of the things that I like to do with my Katana amps is I like to run an external cabinet on it. I have a 412 that I've been running on my previous model, and I wanted to do the same thing for this. Unfortunately, I did not do my research completely, and this does not have an external speaker option to go into like a 412 or a 212 or whatever you would like. So as such, we're going to use the same mod that I had used for my previous Katana to do this one as well. So basically what you've got here is your amp comes in from your power head, goes into the mod, and then you split it into your speakers. Now, most of the DIY videos that are out there right now are for a single 12. As you can see, I've got two 12s. Or the videos out there are a single 10, or the single speaker is what I'm getting at. Obviously, I have two here. So that poses a question, what do you do? Now that I have two connections I have to make, but you only have the ability to do one, how do you do that? So we're going to go over that real quick right now. So you've got coming out of your power head, which is up here. If you reach in to the front of the cabinet, you can feel where your power head is. You've got heat dissipating fins and what have you. And these two wires here come out of that part of your power head. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the two wires that come off of it. Now, the way that this works is it's kind of a loop. Your positive is going over to your left speaker. So we're going to disconnect that. Sometimes you have to work it back and forth a little bit. Do not tug on it. These will snap off, and then you're going to be in big trouble. So we're going to disconnect the one that comes down from the amp. You're also going to see a jumper that goes from the same terminal on this side over to the positive terminal on the second speaker, which is where your loop comes in. So we disconnect that. Then we're also going to disconnect the negative wire that is on the top of your right-hand speaker. Again, you've got a jumper that goes from the other negative on the right-hand speaker back to the negative on the left-hand speaker down the bottom. That's where you get your loop in parallel. So you're going to take your power wire from your power head. You've got two short wires. You're going to connect your power wire, red to red, to your power wire on your adapter. Equally, you're going to do the same thing for your negative. Black to black. Now, sometimes these connectors will be a little bit loose. You can take a pair of needle nose pliers and apply just a gentle amount of pressure to close it in a little bit. Don't get really sock up because you'll make it flat and then you've got to cut it and redo it and it's a giant pain in the rump. So now you're going to take your two longer leads and you're just going to reconnect it to what you disconnected. So your negative is going to go over to the negative side on the right-hand speaker. Slide that on. Again, don't force anything. If it's not going, look at it. You might have to widen your spade bit a little bit to accommodate what you're trying to do. Now we're going to take your positive side or your longer leads off of your adapter and place it onto the terminal on the left-hand speaker on the positive side. Now, if I wasn't so old and feeble and blind, I'd probably be able to do this easier, but bang, that's it. So now what's happened is you've got your power that's coming out, it's going into your adapter. Power is now coming out and is allowing you to do the loop that is necessary for your speakers to work correctly. And that's it. I just leave it hanging. I don't travel. It sits on top of my amp head, and that's pretty much all I do with it. So all I do is I just plug in a 1/4 inch to this, 1/4 inch to the back of my cabinet, and I leave it. Now, if I was going to be someone who was going to be out traveling and I was going to be taking this apart all the time, I would mount it probably up here, which technically I could do without a problem. I'll just put on a little bit of stickum and it will allow me to put my 1/4 inch into this. Now this automatically shuts the speakers off when you're plugged in. You unplug your cabinet, automatically it turns on the internal speakers on the amp. It will not allow you to run both, as that can cause you to have impedance issues and can do damage to the amp head. So don't mess around with any of that. So this is, like I said, pretty simple. Out of the amp, into the 2 shorter sides of the adapter. Take the 2 longer wires on the adapter and put it positive to negative on the 2 that you disconnected from your original amp setup. And you're all set. Now you can run whatever you want as long as your impedance is correct on your cabinet. This will run 8 ohms and 16 ohm cabinets. I think ideally a 150 watt cabinet at 8 ohms is the sweet spot. But if you run something that's bigger, a 16 ohm, you won't have any problems. I'm actually going to do some images on all of those specs with this video.
How to add an external speaker jack to a BOSS Katana Gen 3 100-212. Good day and welcome back to the Katana Classroom. Today we're going to talk about installing an external speaker jack so you can run your BOSS Katana through a compatible external speaker cabinet. The Katana Gen 3 100-212 does not come equipped with a factory external speaker output. Because I regularly run my Katana through an external 4x12 cabinet, I needed a safe and reliable way to switch between the amplifier's internal speakers and an external cabinet. Installing the Katana external speaker mod is a straightforward job, but there are a few things that must be done in the right order. Take your time, do not force any of the connections, and follow the basic safety rules. If you do that, the installation should be simple and clean. Before touching anything, disconnect the amplifier from power. Remove the guitar cable, effects cables, foot controller cable, USB cable, and anything else connected to the amplifier. Place the Katana on a sturdy table or workbench with the back facing you so you can comfortably reach the speakers and wiring. The first step is disconnecting the 2 wires running from the amplifier to the internal speaker connection. These connectors may be tight, especially if they have never been removed. Hold the speaker terminal tab steady with one hand. With the other hand, gently rock the connector back and forth while slowly pulling it away from the terminal. Do not yank it or try to muscle it loose. Holding the terminal tab helps prevent it from bending, loosening, or breaking away from the speaker. Repeat the same process with the second connector. One may slide off easily while the other takes a little more patience. That is completely normal. Once both original wires have been disconnected, take the external speaker mod kit and locate the connectors marked AMP. The wires coming from the amplifier connect to this side of the mod. Match the polarity carefully, red to red and negative to negative, then slide each connector firmly into place. The kit uses insulated silicone covers to help prevent the connections from touching anything and causing a short. Make sure those covers completely shield the metal connectors. If either connection feels loose, use a basic pair of pliers to tighten it slightly. Give the connector a very gentle squeeze, then test the fit again. You are only trying to make it snug. Do not crush or deform the connector. Next, take the other pair of leads coming from the mod and connect them to the internal speaker terminals. Once again, match the polarity and make sure both connectors are fully seated. Before going any further, inspect every connection one more time. Nothing should be loose, exposed, pinched, or able to touch another terminal. Once the wiring is complete, remove the backing from the included hook and loop fastener and mount the mod in a convenient location inside the back of the cabinet. I recommend placing it along the side where the jack remains easy to reach and the wiring will not be stretched, pinched, or resting against anything that could damage it. That is the entire installation. The beauty of this mod is that it handles the speaker switching automatically. When you plug a compatible external speaker cabinet into the jack, the Katana's internal speakers are automatically disconnected. When you unplug the external cabinet, the internal speakers are automatically reconnected, allowing the Katana to operate normally as a combo amplifier again. There are two safety rules that are absolutely non-negotiable. Never turn on the amplifier without a properly matched speaker load connected. Never plug in, unplug, or switch speaker cabinets while the amplifier is powered on. Always shut the Katana off before connecting or disconnecting an external cabinet. A few extra seconds of patience can prevent expensive damage to your amplifier. You also need to make sure the external cabinet meets the amplifier's required impedance and power handling specifications. The mod gives you an external speaker connection, but it does not make every speaker cabinet automatically compatible. Verify the specifications before connecting anything. Once everything is installed, inspected, and properly matched, you will be able to use your Katana with its built-in speakers or connect it to an external cabinet whenever you want a different cabinet response, more speaker area, or that additional low-end thud many of us are looking for. I hope this Katana Classroom guide was helpful. Links to purchase the external speaker mod along with the Facebook group where you can get more information and installation help will be included in the description.